I was at a barbecue last summer and watched something that made me sick. Some guy's friend disrespected his wife right in front of him. A subtle, condescending comment about how she didn't understand business. And the husband just laughed it off. He didn't say a word. He didn't defend her. He just kept drinking his beer like nothing had happened. And here's the thing, I watched her face change. It wasn't anger, it was just disappointment. Like she just confirmed something she already suspected about him. Every man has a line, a point where if someone crosses it, he stops talking and starts fighting. But most men, they don't have that line. They don't have a single thing. They burn it all down to protect. And you can see it in their eyes. Their wife can see it. Their kids can see it. Everyone can see it. But then there are men who are different. Men who their family trusts completely because they know this man will go to war for us. They know exactly what's worth fighting for. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 7 things every man should be willing to go to war for. The same 7 things I learned after watching dozens of men lose their families, their friendships, and their self-respect because nobody ever told them where the line was. A guy in our community works in finance, high stress job, good money, but 2 years ago, he drew a line his boss hated. No work calls after 6 p.m., no emails after dinner, no bringing stress home. His boss hated it, told him it wasn't team player behavior, told him he'd get passed over for promotions, and for a moment, he almost caved. But then he thought about his kids, how they'd stop talking when he walked in the room because they could feel his stress, how his wife started going to bed early to avoid him, how his home felt like a war zone instead of a refuge. So he held the line. And within 6 months, 2 things happened. Number 1, his boss backed off and his home became peaceful again. His kids started talking to him. His wife started smiling when he walked through the door. Just one decision. That's all it took. Your family's peace is non-negotiable, not just their physical safety, their emotional safety, the environment they live in every single day. And if something or someone threatens that peace, your job, your friends, your habit, your pride, you go to war. But protecting your family's peace means nothing if you can't trust yourself. And that brings us to the one thing that most men sacrifice first, your integrity. I watched a business deal go sideways last year. 2 partners, one of them cut corners to save money. Nothing illegal, all right? Just unethical. And when it came out, he tried to justify it. Everyone does it, it's just business. We needed the cash flow. And his partner said one thing, I'm out. Walked away from a profitable partnership because he wouldn't compromise his integrity. Everyone called him crazy. 6 months later, the corner cutter lost his clients. You see, his reputation, everything, the guy who walked, he's thriving now because people trust him. Your integrity is the only thing you truly own. Not your money, not your reputation, your integrity. And if you compromise it once, it gets easier the next time and the next until you wake up one day and you don't recognize yourself. Going to war for your integrity looks like this. Someone asks you to lie for them. You say no, right? Someone asks you to cheat on your taxes. You also say no. Someone asks you to take credit for work you didn't do. You say no. Even when saying yes would be easier, even when no one would know, even when it cost you, because your integrity isn't about what people see. It's about what you know about yourself. And the second you compromise it, you lose respect for yourself. And when you lose respect, you lose everything. So the second thing you go to war for, your integrity, your character, your word. Your integrity protects who you are. But there's something else most men let die quietly, and losing it is the thing they regret most at 50, your mission. There's a guy I know who's been working on the same business idea for 3 years. It's not profitable yet. His wife is supportive, but worried. His friends think he's wasting his time. His family keeps asking when he's going to get a real job. And every single day he wakes up at 5 a.m. and keeps building. This is his mission, and he's not letting anyone talk him out of it. 6 months ago, something clicked. Revenue started coming in. Clients started referring him. And now he's on track to make more this year than he ever did at his corporate job. Why, you ask? Because he went to war for his mission. When everyone told him to quit, your mission is the thing you're building that's bigger than you. It could be your business. It could be raising kids who change the world. It could be serving your community. Whatever it is, it's the thing that gives your life meaning, and people will try to kill it. They'll just tell you to be realistic. to play it safe, to stop dreaming and settle for what's comfortable. And if you listen, you'll wake up at 50 with a safe life and a dead soul. Going to war for your mission means you don't compromise. You don't let people talk you out of it. So the third thing you go to war for is your mission, the thing you're building that makes your life matter. Don't let anyone kill it. You know, for over 5 years now, I've been coaching men, helping them turn their lives around, all right? And what I found is that these first 3 points are the ones most men at least think about. However, these next 4, this is where people start to get uncomfortable. Before we dive into them, if this video is resonating, I made a video breaking down the simple code every man should follow. 6 pillars that separate men who thrive from men who just survive. It's literally the foundation for everything we're talking about here. Link in the description below. It's midnight and my phone begins to ring. It was someone from my community. He had just got in the biggest fight of his marriage. He was in the parking lot, sat in his car, and he didn't even know what to do. So he called and we talked for 2 hours. I didn't fix his marriage. I didn't give him a magic answer. I just listened. And at the end, he said, I just needed someone who wouldn't judge me, who wouldn't tell me what I wanted to hear, someone who just be there. That's brotherhood, and it's rare because most men don't have it. They have acquaintances, they have drinking buddies, but they don't have men who will show up at midnight when everything's falling apart. Your brotherhood is the 2 or 3 men who know the real you, the messy, the broken, the struggling version of you. And they don't run, they show up. They challenge you, they hold you accountable, and they don't let you settle. And if someone tries to destroy that, if someone tries to poison those relationships, if someone tries to pull you away from the men who actually make you better, you go to war. This looks like setting boundaries with toxic people who hate seeing you grow. This looks like protecting time with your brothers even when it's inconvenient. This looks like showing up for them the way they show up for you, because isolation kills men and brotherhood saves them. So the 4th thing you go to war for is your brotherhood, the men who actually know you and choose to stand with you anyway. Protect those relationships like your life depends on them. Remember that barbecue I mentioned earlier? The guy whose wife got disrespected and he did nothing? That marriage is over now. She filed for divorce 6 months later. Not because of that one comment, but because that comment revealed something. He wouldn't protect her. He wouldn't stand up for her. He'd throw her under the bus for social comfort. And once she saw that, she couldn't unsee it. Your wife's honor is sacred, okay? And going to war for it doesn't just mean protecting her from other people. It means protecting her from you, from your disrespect, from your neglect, from your taking her for granted. This looks like shutting down the guy who makes an inappropriate comment about her. This looks like defending her when your family criticizes her. This looks like speaking about her with respect, even when she's not in the room. This looks like never using her vulnerabilities against her in a fight, because the way you treat your wife tells her everything she needs to know about your character. And if you won't go to war for her honor, she'll stop trusting you. And when trust is dead, the marriage. You know, I know a guy who lost a friendship because his friend kept making jokes about his wife's weight. The first time he let it slide. The second time he said something. Third time, he just cut him out completely. I told you once, I'm not telling you again. We're done. That friendship ended, but his marriage got stronger because his wife saw that he'd burn bridges to protect her, and that's what she needed to see. So the 5th thing you go to war for, your wife's honor. Protect her from everyone, including yourself. There's another guy in our community who moved his family out of a major city last year. Great schools, great job, great house. But he looked at what his kids were being exposed to, the culture, the values, the environment, and he said, no. Everyone thought he was overreacting. Kids are resilient. You're being too protective. You're making a mistake. But he knew what he knew, and he moved them to a small town where he could actually control the environment they grew up in. 2 years later, his kids are thriving. They're outside more, they're reading more, they're not glued to screens, and he doesn't regret it for 1 second because he went to war for their future when everyone told him to just relax. Your children's future is non-negotiable, not just their safety, their character, their values they absorb, the environment they grow up in, the foundation you're laying for them. And if someone threatens that future, a toxic school system, a dangerous neighborhood, your own bad habits, cultural influences you can't control, you go to war. You move, you change, you sacrifice, you do whatever it takes. This doesn't mean you shelter from everything. It means you're intentional. You don't let the world raise your kids. You raise them. and you fight anything that tries to corrupt what you're building in them. So the sixth thing you go to war for, your children's future. What you're building in them is more important than your comfort. Fight for it. All right, this is the one most men never learn. They go to war for their family, their integrity, their mission, but they won't go to war for their own boundaries. They can't say no, and it destroys them. There's a guy who I know who was working 80-hour weeks. Not because he wanted to, because he couldn't say no to his boss. Every time his boss asked for more, he said yes. It was killing him, his health, his marriage, his sanity. So I asked him, what happens if you say no? And he said, I might get fired. And I said, so you're choosing your job over your life? And that question broke something open in him. He started saying no, not to everything, just to the things that cross his boundaries. And his boss didn't fire him. He respected him more. You see how that works? Because weak men say yes to everything. Strong men know when to say no. Your right to say no is sacred. To overwork, to people please, to obligations that don't serve you, to relationships that drain you, to anything that violates your values or your priorities. And if someone tries to guilt you, manipulate you, or punish you for saying no, you go to war. You hold that line. You don't budge, because your boundaries are what protect everything else you've built. So the seventh thing you go to war for, your right to say no, your boundaries, your autonomy, your ability to protect your time, your energy, and your life from people who would consume it all if you let them. So there it is. 7 things every man should go to war for: your family's peace, your integrity, your mission, your brotherhood, your wife's honor, your children's future, and your right to say no. These are the lines you don't cross, the hills you die on, the things worth fighting for. But here's the hard truth. Most men won't fight for any of this. Not because they don't care, but because fighting is uncomfortable. It creates conflict. It costs relationships. It requires you to stand alone when everyone's telling you to sit down. And most men would rather keep the peace than fight for what matters. They'd rather avoid conflict than defend their wife. They'd rather say yes than set boundaries. They'd rather blend in than stand out. And that's why most men live small lives. Lives where nothing matters. Lives where they compromise everything for comfort. Lives where they wake up at 50 and realize they stood for nothing. But you don't have to be like most men. You can choose differently. So what happens when you actually go to war for these things? What changes? You become a man people trust. Your wife trusts you more because she's seen you fight for her. Your kids respect you more because they've seen you stand for something. Your brothers trust you more because they know you won't abandon them. And here's what happens. You stop feeling lost. You stop feeling like you're drifting. You stop feeling like your life doesn't matter, because you know exactly what you're protecting. You know exactly what you're fighting for. But here's something that most men don't realize. You can know exactly what you're willing to fight for, have all the lines drawn, all the boundaries set, and still feel like something is missing. It's because knowing what to protect doesn't tell you how to build what's worth protecting in the first place. So check out this video where I break down how to build a mind so tough it scares people, because protecting what matters only works if you've built the mental strength to hold that line when the pressure comes. Remember, you're driven by purpose and you're built for legacy. Let's go.